Hi, my name is Diego and I love tinkering, and I have never owned a desktop PC. I've always managed to do all my work on a laptop, but I think it was time to upgrade to the bigger stuff. So today I will show you how I built this beast of a computer. This one is my first time building a PC, and I had three things clear about how I wanted it to be. First one, I wanted it to be small and truly portable. Second, I wanted it to be unique. And third, I wanted it to be powerful enough to play games at 1080p with ultra settings. 4040p depending on the game. So let's go into the components. Let's start with the gem of the crown, which is the case. And yeah, this is where all the case is, actually. And it's so cool, and even the packaging is so aesthetic. And as you may have already guessed, you have to assemble it yourself, and this is why this build is so much fun. In case you're interested on more designs like this, let me tell you that this case is designed by Teenage Engineering. You can buy it in their website if you live in the US. I don't, so I had to buy it in another store, of course. Also, I think they have an aluminum version of this, and all of the products are highly inspired on Zotac's designs. And if you don't know him, you should definitely check his work, because this guy alone made some of the most iconic design in history. The only problem, if I can put it like that, is that they actually don't make PC-related components or something like that. They just make synths and speakers, and for some reason they decided to design a PC case, which I immediately fall in love when I first saw it. And we are building it today, specifically the orange version, which I think is more iconic. What we can find in this small box is basically the front panel, and most importantly, here's the main body. And look at these gorgeous orange aluminum plates. I know it may seem strange at first, but trust me, after it's built, you will see any other PC as boring. Enough with the case. Let's move on to the other components. This build will be rocking a full 4060, which I consider the best graphics card for playing on 1080p with ultra settings, or even 1440p with minimal compromises. Never mind, the CPU will be a Core i5 1200KF. That was difficult to say, but all that it means is that it is a i5 12th gen and doesn't have an integrated graphics card. You may be wondering, why are you so hot? And you also may be asking, wait, this is so hot. How are we gonna cool this? Well, don't worry babe, that is a work for a Noctua air cooler. Noctua usually includes all the tools and accessories in its box, even the screwdriver. Some of them even include both Intel and M.A.T. mountings. I opted specifically for the Cromax Black edition of the L9x65, which is a best-in-class low-profile air cooler. I chose it because it delivers excellent performance and it's almost as silent as we can get at this size. Now, it's time for the RAM. This is just a simple pair of really fast RAM sticks with 16 GB in total. Of course, no RGB, really just good enough for my use case. Now, where are we gonna install the OS, which may not be Windows this time, and all of our games? Because surely we're using this PC for gaming. Well, this is what this 1TB Kingstong is for. Now, look at this cute cat that's just a bird. I mean, isn't she cute? Of course she is. Now, all these pieces we just sold, well, they go somewhere, right? You're right, the motherboard. This one, as it is evident, is an ITX one, but additionally, it has some features that I find them appealing to be in my build. First, it has a USB-C Thunderbolt available, which is, well, a nice touch. But most importantly, it has a Wi-Fi adapter, essential for portability. Finally, it has a Bluetooth adapter to use wireless headphones. Now, a small form factor PC cannot be complete without a small form factor power supply. This one here, it's 750 watts, which I consider to be more than enough for this configuration of components. Besides, after some heavy research, I found this one to be one of the quietest PSU you will ever find on market. If that's what you're looking for, let me tell you that what makes it silent is a mod called 0 RPM or something like that, where at some loads the fan doesn't even spin, and that is key for having a silent PC. Now, at full load, of course there's gonna be some fan sound. That is almost impossible to get rid of on a really small PC like this, even though this one isn't really that small. But even there, this is nearly as loud as some other power supplies. Finally, some extra accessories I bought separately. An 80mm fan, which is almost required for this case and it's not included in the box. A fan grid for protecting the intake fan from you-know-who, and some replacements for the stock antenna for a sleek and minimal look. Before, we didn't take the time to actually review each piece of the case. I suppose this one is the front panel. This one could be the bottom, I guess. This one is for the I/O ports for sure. And I think this one is for the intake fan. According to the instructions, we first need to install these little spaces where the whole PC will be hanging from, so we better tie them well. As it is standard for RTX, there are only 4 of them. Next step in instructions is build a computer. Okay, let's get into it. After watching hundreds of videos, I learned that the first thing you install is the CPU, and it should be a simple process. But once you get your hands and you're actually doing it, the first thing you notice is that it requires an unexpected, but really unexpected amount of force. You even think you're gonna break it. This is also a critical part, since you have the motherboard pins exposed for a moment, and you can tell at a glance that these pins can be bent just by looking at them. Anyway, everything worked out perfectly fine, at least for now. And after this careful procedure, it was time to install the RAM. Normally, when installing 2 sticks of RAM, I will have to make 100% sure that I'm using the correct slots. And thankfully in this form factor it's pretty straightforward. Now, according to the YouTube tutorials, it was supposed to be as simple as pushing them until it click. But I really don't know why they weren't clicking. I guess I just had to push them harder, but I really was afraid of breaking something, especially the motherboard, which was not cheap. At the end, they didn't give any problems, so I guess I managed to install them correctly, somehow. Does that make me an expert builder? I would say yes. Now, it was time to install the cooler. We're using the Intel parts bag, since we're installing over an Intel socket. According to the instructions, we had first to mount the bracket, aligning these little triangles in a specific way for this socket. And then secure them with these little plastic clips that also act as spacers. The result is a very rigid plate that you can then mount in the back of the motherboard. After that, we need to put these little spacers, followed by the brackets that need to be secured with these nuts. When installing the cooler, the torque you apply to the screws is what you need to take care of, since you want a rigid structure without crushing any components. Ooh, here it comes the thermal paste. Thankfully, that was included with the cooler because I forgot to buy it. Apply just a little bit more than you think you need to apply, and you should be good to go. Just gently place the cooler, aligning it with the screws on the brackets. Oh, I was really worried about screwing one side without even noticing it. Again, be careful with not applying too much torque. Now, installing the SSD wasn't so scary to me, since I had to partially disassemble the motherboard. Almost forgot to peel this plastic cover. Then I pushed it delicately into its connector and secured it with this little lock the motherboard comes with. Reassembling the motherboard was actually the easiest part. Now, this is almost a whole computer, and according to instructions, we need to attach this to the case. We need to tighten these screws really hard, since this one supports almost the whole weight. Next step seems to be making space for the GPU ports. For that, you need to break this little piece from one of the plates, so you better be sure you're using a GPU. Then it's just a matter of bending these tabs. I don't know why, but this one was really tough. But with my supreme strength, I managed to do it with no problem. It just took me some time. This plate acts also as a PSU holder, so we can attach it already. 4 simple screws, no problem here. And we can use the Noctua screwdriver to tighten it well. Oh, here it comes the nightmare. Even the instructions kindly remind us to think twice and bend once. And thankfully, we did. So we didn't have any problem. But this guy did.
Esto lo doblé todo al revés.
This time, even with my supreme strength, I had to ask for some help to my friend. And here we have it, it's done. Now we can relax and install these little feet. They're actually really cute. Now look at this power button. So cool, man. The headphones jack port. Both were really easy to mount, so no problems there. And with that, this plate is finished. And who would have known? The moment of joining these plates together has come. Secure it very well, so you end up with a rigid result. Then, joining the front panel plate was enough to start seeing what this is going to look like. I must say that putting all the pieces together and seeing them find its place, it's pretty satisfying. But this still feels like a Lego build, with almost $2,000 worth of tech inside. I decided to get this last plate ready, bending all its tabs and checking if it fits properly. This piece is also where the handles are attached, and it makes it feel so industrial, as if it was designed by Apple. I tighten it well, since I actually plan to use these handles to carry the PC. Besides the power switch and the headphones jack, there's also an additional port, which I love. It is USB-C. Like seriously, I love USB-C. Oh my boy, it's time for a graphics card. Almost forgot to pull the lever. Just a little bit of gentle push. Then I secured it with this little screw as quickly as possible because I was really afraid of bending the PCI port. Now, at that moment, I realized that it was already time to test if these expensive levels work. So here I was with a friend, installing the monitor, plugging the power cord, even connecting a wired keyboard and a wired mouse to avoid any input issue. Then I simply pressed the power button, and we waited with patience until it showed an image of the screen, and it seemed to be working. Instruction on the screen said to press delete or F2 to enter the BIOS, and it was stuck. I tried rebooting a few times, but I still was struggling to find out the cause. We tried everything to pass this screen. We checked the peripherals, pressed every key, and even replugged some internal cables. And we were left with another option then, updating the BIOS. I know, it may sound scary at first, it did to me, but in this motherboard it's really simple actually. You just need to download the new version from the support page, extract it in any folder, run the included script that renames it automatically. Then copy that file into a USB stick, plug it into this special port, power the PC, and hold this special button for a few seconds, I think it was 6 more or less, and pray that the next 10 or 20 minutes there is no power outage. After a few restarts, it got to enter the BIOS. Now, I quickly checked the temperature to prevent any disaster if it overheats. Thankfully, it was at a solid 40 degrees. Finally, almost at evening, with the OS installed, I proceed to close the PC. So, I couldn't be happier with the final result. It's as small as I wanted it to be. Look at this, man, it's so cool. It's a bit heavy though, but it surely is powerful. So let's take a ride. First of all, installing this OS, which is Arc by the way, is something that I would like to explain in depth in another whole video. I decided that something challenging for this machine would be Minecraft with shaders, which is also a game that I play regularly with a pal who is an amazing friend. Let's start with some bedwares. In my old laptop, I wasn't even able to get more than 20 FPS, even without shaders. But I noticed though that it seems to be locked at 60 FPS. I think it probably has something to do with VSync. Let's see if I can outplay this guy. What I didn't know is that having a good PC doesn't instantly make you a good player. Let's try something more relaxing. Wow. I mean, is this even Minecraft? Yo, bud. Oh, you're so cute. But let's see the actual FPS. It seems it currently rendering 12 chunks. Ooh, almost 100 FPS. And GPU isn't even sweating. Man, I could be here all day. I'm definitely playing this the rest of the day. Thank you so much for reaching until the end. I've always wanted to make videos about part of my hobbies where I enjoy them and learn from them. And this PC is actually for making more videos like this. So you may want to stick around. Bye.